Namaste, welcome back to Stithapragna channel and you are watching AWS real-time cloud projects. So far we have finished 49 projects and today we are going to hit that half century 50th project and these projects are divided into seasons. You already know we are currently in season 4. Is it season 4? Season 5? Even I forgot what season it is. We are in season 5 and in season 5 we are doing these projects as a security admin and we have done so far 2 projects in this season. This is going to be the third project, so let's go ahead, click that, and today we are going to do Lambda Security. So why is he going this slow? Okay, let him go. Anyways, so this project is the third in the season and 50th one, so let's go and start it. I think is this the first time we are on the ground and oh, this person is inside. Okay, never mind. Hello, thank you for coming. I am the head of the IT department and I am worried about some security issues. We want to ensure that we meet our strict data security rules. In particular, our company requires that we expose no data to the public internet. Sure, I'm happy to help. Can you tell me more? We recently migrated to a microservice architecture using AWS Lambda to build our applications. Our Lambda functions need to access an RDS database for data queries, and we aren't sure what configurations we need to meet our security requirements. Let's start with Lambda. You can configure your Lambda functions to connect to private subnets in a VPC, which we call, virtual private cloud, which we call a VPC. After the Lambda function is VPC enabled, you can securely access private resources such as RDS database. I see. How about the database credentials? We do not want to hardcode the credentials in the Lambda function code. Is there a better way? Absolutely. You can use AWS Secrets Manager to store the database credentials. Secrets Manager protects secrets such as passwords, and you can rotate, manage, and retrieve secrets throughout their lifecycle. Lambda function can quickly retrieve the credentials with API calls to Secret Manager. Sounds great. However, if Lambda is in a private VPC subnet, how can we access other AWS services without going through the internet? We also need to access the S3 buckets in which we store the query results. No worries. You can use a VPC endpoint which provides connections between a VPC and supported services such as Secrets Manager and S3 without requiring an internet gateway. Calling a service through a VPC endpoint keeps all the request traffic on the AWS network. There are different types of VPC endpoints. To access Secret Manager, for example, you can use an interface VPC endpoint, and to access S3 and DynamoDB, you will use gateway endpoint. To access your S3, you can create a gateway VPC endpoint that provides a private connection between VPC and S3. The traffic between your VPC and S3 does not leave the network. Just remember, gateway endpoint is used only for S3 and DynamoDB. For the remaining services, you use interface endpoint. Fantastic! It sounds like your solution will help meet our security requirements. Can you demo how we can implement the security solution? Of course I can. Great, thanks for helping. So we are going to learn how to create a Lambda function to connect to VPC private subnets, and also we will configure Lambda that retrieves credentials from Secret Manager. Then we will create a gateway VPC endpoint. So we are going to touch on these 3 topics. Let's hit start. Okay, here we are at our diagram, and as usual we have these video concepts, and where can you watch these videos? There will be a pop-up here, a playlist called AWS Basics for Beginners, or I think AWS Tutorials for Beginners. Go to that playlist, search with these names, then you will get those videos. I highly recommend you to watch them before continuing with the project. In this solution, AWS Lambda accesses private resources in a VPC without going through the public internet. Lambda securely retrieves database credentials from AWS Secrets Manager. Lambda is configured to connect to private subnet in a VPC. You can see this is the private subnet and this is in another private subnet. You can see that. Such as Amazon Relational Database Service, which is RDS. Then we have RDS, which is a managed relational database service. Using a VPC, you can isolate your RDS database in your own virtual network for security. Lambda retrieves database credentials from Secrets Manager through an interface VPC endpoint. You can see that one here. VPC endpoint connects a VPC and supported services without requiring that you use an internet gateway. NAT device or VPN connection or direct connect connection. Using an interface VPC, you can connect to services powered by AWS private link. Secrets Manager protects secrets such as passwords needed to access your application services IT resources. With the retrieved database credentials, Lambda is able to connect to Amazon RDS and make data queries. It can connect. Then Gateway VPC endpoints provide reliable connectivity to S3 and Amazon DynamoDB without requiring an internet or NAT gateway for your VPC. Query results from Amazon RDS can be stored in S3 bucket without any of the traffic leaving the AWS traffic because we have VPC endpoint. After a gateway VPC endpoint is configured, you can connect it to more than one bucket. Okay, basically that's all we are going to do. But let's see what is the plan. The practice lab goals, we are going to create Lambda function to connect it to private subnets in a VPC, which is this one basically. And then we will retrieve database credentials from secrets manager through the Lambda function to access RDS. And how are we going to access that? Without going through public internet using VPC endpoint. Then we'll create a gateway VPC endpoint to access S3 buckets. And as part of DIY, we are going to update the custom RDS query in the Lambda function code to find all people records with data scientist as occupation. Then we'll run the Lambda function. Then we'll make sure the new results are placed into the provided DIY S3 bucket, which is this one, I guess. So let's hit it. Let's start the lab. For some reason, labs are being provisioned slowly in this season. Previous season, it was fast. All right, so we have 51 steps. My God, it may take about 5 minutes. Okay, so the concepts again, you need to read them. I am not going to read them. So every time when I click on next, before going to the next one, make sure you read the concepts, whatever they are. Under concept, only read that. This is just going to explain the services that we are going to open up. That being said, let's start this. Okay, we'll go to Lambda, click on the functions, and we are going to author from scratch. The reason is they already provided us the code which we downloaded, and we are going to name it Lambda function, and we are going to select 3.10 as the runtime. All right, we have the architecture, that's okay. Then we are going to choose the role that they already created for us, which is Lambda security role, and we are going to go to advanced settings, and here we are going to choose lab VPC because there will be a default one as well which we don't want. We want to pick the lab VPC for this one, and after that we are going to select two subnets that are part of this one. I think subnet names are Lambda subnet. Both are Lambda subnets. Yeah, US East 1A, US East 1B. And then we are going to select this security default VPC security group, not the other two. Then save changes and click on layers. Looks like we are going to add a layer. Oh, the code that we already downloaded, I think they are going to use that as a layer. This is funny though. Didn't they pick 3.10? Now why is it 3.8? Did they choose 3.8 instead of 10? Huh, that's weird. See, discrepancy in their screenshots. They said pick 3.10, but when we come here, it's 3.8. That's weird. Anyways, they ask us to add a layer, and oh, they already have a layer. Custom layers, Lambda function layer, version 1, add it. Now we have the layers. Now the code, you can either copy paste it or upload from a zip file. I already downloaded the zip file from the labs files. Then we will upload it and then save it. And then once you upload it, this is how it looks like. This is our Lambda function. They want us to open it and make it full screen. Then they want us to review this one, wherein you are giving the secret name, the secret manager name. So we need to get that name. So we'll go to the secret manager. Then we'll click on this, and then we'll copy the secret ARN. Then retrieve the secret value. It will show the username, password, and everything, which we don't care right now. Okay, then we are going to review the Java code, Python. It will just show you the sample code on how to access the secret manager from different programming languages. We are going to configuration in the Lambda, and we are going to edit the general configuration. We will change that to 3 minutes. And then we are going to go to environment variables, add environment variable, and we are going to name it secret ARN and then pass that ARN value here. Then configure a test because we want to test it. We are going to create a dummy test event, and data, I guess it doesn't matter what we give it. Once you hit test, you should be able to see the hostname, username, password. I think that's what they are printing. Okay, so let's go to the code and check the code more what it is trying to do. Basically, okay, they want us to review what 53. Yeah, if you look at from here to here, all they are doing is they're connecting to the uh, RDS using PyMySQL, and then if there is an error connecting, it will throw an error. Otherwise, it will log that success. Then we are doing show tables like talent pool, and then they are going to fetch one, and then we're running load data function, which we will see in a minute. If there is no result, otherwise we are going to run custom query, and we are going to pass the database credentials to the custom query. And if you look at the custom query function, all we are doing is select everything from the talent pool table where the occupation like toxicologist. That's all we are doing. And we are going to uncomment this code, which you can do it using comment, toggle comment, or control slash on your keyboard. Then test it after uncommenting. Now that should be done, and populating talent pool table. I think they might have inserted some data into that. Now that is done. Now what is the next step? We have to go and create an endpoint. You can do that from the VPC endpoints, and we are going to name it. I hope we remember all these steps. I really hope that. Name tag. Okay, did they forget to put it here? I think they did. So let's go ahead and name this S3 GWVPC ENDPT. Okay, let's do that, and then we are going to choose the gateway because for S3 and DynamoDB it has to be gateway. For all the other services interface, then we are going to pick the VPC, which is the lab VPC, and then again we are going to pick the subnet 1 and subnet 2 Lambda. Then let's scroll a little bit down. Okay, and then I think that's it. We created it successfully. Now we are going to go to the Lambda. What is this bucket? Lambda security bucket, and we are going to see there are no files here, and go to your Lambda code again, and this time we copy paste that bucket name in it, then we deploy it, and then we test it. And now the file uploaded successfully. Previously it did not, but right now it did upload it successfully. There should be a file if you go and check that out. Yes, and download it, view the data. Awesome, done. Let's go home. I wish it's as simple as that, but no. Now let's try to repeat those steps. Do we even remember which service they opened initially? I think it is Lambda. So let's go ahead. Lambda functions dashboard. Hold on, applications. Okay, we don't have any, so we are going to create one. Other from scratch. See, we already forgot what to do. And this is going to be Python 3.10. That's what they showed. I will just go with them, and the default role we have to change to existing one, which is the Lambda security role. In the advanced settings, we have to enable VPC, and the VPC is the lab VPC, and the subnets we are going to choose Lambda subnet 1, Lambda subnet again 1A 1B, because the other ones are database subnet, and this is database subnet, public subnet. So we are going to choose these two. And the security groups we are going to choose are the default security groups, not the secrets manager endpoint and this one. So let's choose that. I think that's it. Let's create the function. Okay, we have the function successfully, but we need to add layer. What is this layer? This is a reusable code throughout your project. So why do we need it? Well, because we are connecting to PyMySQL, it needs jar files which are like 50 MB. You cannot attach them to your projects every time. So usually they will create layers, which we already have here. And then let's choose one. And what does it have? I think it uses Python, all that. Add it, pending. Oh, it's still in pending stage. Okay, let's wait until that function is created. I don't know why it is taking that long for this to be created. Okay, let's wait and wait and wait, I guess. Okay, in the meantime, what are we going to do after this function is done? Do any of you remember? Maybe not, but I do remember. So we are going to go for secrets manager. Let's open it. Let's go to secrets manager. Let's click on this. Let's copy the ARN. And if you want to see, you can see all the values that are stored on this. Now let's go back to Lambda. It's still creating. Not sure why it is taking forever. And in the configuration, we have to change this to 3 minutes. Okay, it won't, I guess. It has to be created. Let me refresh this. I mean, it should not take this long to create a function. Okay, I think it is done, or it is still creating. Well, that's something. Let me pause and let me come back, I guess. Okay, finally the function is created. Now let's go ahead and edit the settings, and let's increase the timeout and save it. And also remember, we got the secret manager, but we don't have the code yet here. So let's do a couple of things, which is first go ahead and add that layer we plan to do. So custom layers, the layer is already created in here, so there is only one. Let's select that, and the version is that. Add it. Okay, the layer should show here, and it should also show here. Once you have that, we need the code though, so you can copy paste the code, but it requires some libraries and etc. That's why these guys have already put them in a zip file and gave it to me. So let me bring it. As you can see here, we got the zip file. They have everything in there, so all we have to do is upload it, save it, and you will see all the libraries and everything will be imported into our function. As you can see, it has 3 files, and this is our main function, and there is some data and then the db connection file anyways. So this one, it is logging these details, and it is getting them from where? From the secret get secret. Okay, result equals to get secret, and then the result dot get host port and whatnot. But this get secret, how does it work? I mean, we obviously have to give the get secret function. If we go down somewhere here, right? What does this do? This connects to the secret manager using the name secret name, and that secret name variable is getting from the environment variable secret ARN. And if you go and check it there, we already know that there is no such environment variable, right? So we are going to edit it, add it, paste this, and we already got the value for the secret manager ARN. So we are going to copy paste it, save it. You don't need to give any codes. Now let's test this function as is, however it is right now in this state. Let's see if everything the VPC and everything is set up correctly and all. If you test initially, it asks for an event. Let's create a dummy event because this function doesn't take any input. So save it, test it. All it should do is print the variable. So we can establish the connection to secret manager successfully. Okay, so that's the first step. The second step for us to do is to enable the code that is actually connecting to the RDBS. So let's go ahead and uncomment this. Okay, so let me select all of, not this one, these two are comments. So let's select this code. I think control/ on your keyboard works. If you don't want to try, you can go ahead into whatever they showed, like I guess edit, comment, toggle comment. So what this is doing, I explained before, connects to the database, and then it runs this custom query, which is this one, which is selecting everything from toxologies, etc. Then it is dumping that into a JSON file and storing it in the temp, and then the S3 code is commented out here. So we are not uploading anything to S3, but if I did uncommented, then this is going to fail. Let me show that as well. Control this, let's uncomment that as well. I think pretty much that's it. Let's go deploy it. Test it. The reason I said the uploading to S3 part will fail is because, can you guess why it will fail? Well, let's confirm actually it fails, but it will fail. The reason is um, our VPC, the subnets that we selected for the Lambda to be in, they are private subnets, and S3, in order to connect to S3, which is should usually happens through a public connection, right? So through a private, you cannot enter the public internet, so you cannot go and upload the file to S3. For that reason, the uploading to S3 part will fail and it should fail, right? So that is what we are going to solve. So if your Lambda function is in a private subnet, and if you have to connect it to public services like S3, etc., how do you do it? Well, that's where the VPC endpoints come into picture. And that one VPC endpoint we are going to use. There are two types, right? Interface as well as gateway. Gateway endpoint you will use for only two services, which are S3 and DynamoDB, whereas the interface endpoint you will use for the remaining services. Okay, so as you can see, it only went till populating the table, and you don't see anything regarding uploading the file to S3, etc., because okay, because it might have connected to it. It might try to run it, but it couldn't, because it couldn't connect to it and upload the file. Okay, but for some reason, at least I should see an error. I don't know why I didn't see an error. Let's see. What is the function that we are using? Custom query. So it went to what extent? Oh, if not result, load data. I think this is what might have happened. If I go to load data, and if I go to populating, I think it went into this one. The reason being, where is this? It's confusing, I know, right? Okay, here when we are fetching from the table, if there is no data, and if you don't get any data back, we are going to load data because it's the first time. If there is already data, then we are going to run this one. So if I run it again, it should tell me that uh, the upload to S3 failed. There is an error. It should run the other logic. That's what I'm trying to say. It should not go into the load data. It should run the custom query, and in the custom query is the place where we are fetching it, putting it in a file, and then trying to upload it. So I think this part should run now. It takes some time, but what I'm trying to say is, remember, from private subnets, if you want to connect to different services, that usually happen on public, but if you want to happen it on privately, then what should you use? You should try to use VPC endpoints. Okay. All right. That being said, well, you might be thinking like, we have NAT gateways, right? Why can't we use a NAT gateway? No, we are not trying to. NAT gateways are usually used if you have some services like EC2 instance where you want to connect it to public internet to get the updates and etc. That is one way. Okay, so for that we will use NAT instances, not in these cases. So while that is running, we already know what we have to do. So let's go to VPC while this is running, and let's scroll down to endpoints. No, that is verified access endpoints. That's not what I want to go. I want to go to endpoints. Where is that? Yeah, here we go. Okay, we are here. Now let's see if that is still running. Okay, it's still running. That's fine. Now let's go to, we are in the endpoints, and let's create an endpoint, and this we are going to name it S3, whatever that is, and it is going to be an AWS service, and we are going to search this one. It's just S3, but you have to do this search. Why are we not getting anything? Let me try with S3. Okay, so for S3 we got two. We got gateway and interface. What is the one we are going to use? Gateway, obviously. And the VPC, we remember it, the lab VPC. And these ones, it is going to be Lambda subnet 1 and Lambda subnet 2. And then policy, I think it is full access. We are not going to create a policy for it. I think we are good here. That's it. But before creating, let's see if this is finished. Okay, and if we look at this here, oh, it actually timed out. So let me go ahead and edit this, save this. Yeah, it took more time than whatever we gave to run that, I guess. So let's go to code, execution results. Let's test it again. Let's run it, and we can create this endpoint once that is finished. So I will pause it for a minute. Okay, all right. Looks like it is never finishing for some reason. Let's go check it out. Found credentials in environment variable, wherever that is. Okay, so we are running this get secret loads. These, I think it is they are getting printed. Yes, and even the RDS successful, and even it is extracting data, as you can see it here. So it definitely went into the custom query. It printed this one, and I think it even wrote to this one, even though we don't have any message. I think it is trying to connect to this, but we already know why it is not. But it is taking forever trying to reach out, but it is not because it is in a public going trying to, and private internet don't have, so that's why it failed. So let's go ahead and create this endpoint. Okay, now this endpoint is created successfully, and let's give it a try again. Is it created or is it getting created? I think it is created successfully. Okay, cool. We don't have to modify anything over here, so let's give it a test again. And it didn't take much long. It immediately came back like in that, what, 3 seconds, 4 seconds. But this is good. It is saying fail to upload to bucket because there is no bucket name. Did we forget to put bucket name here? I thought I had the bucket name mentioned. Okay, where are we getting the bucket name from first, by the way? Bucket, enter your bucket. Oh, okay, never mind. So let's go to S3. So you see the difference, right? So before, since we didn't have the endpoint, it is trying to connect from a private subnet, which obviously when I say trying, it will keep on trying, but it won't. So let's take this one and put it here. And I think that should be it. Deploy. and then test it. Okay, so successfully updated it and ran it, and you can see now it uploaded the file successfully. So you see the difference, right? The difference is previously it was running forever because there was no gateway created or no way for the Lambda function to upload the file to S3. So that's why it's like I'm lost in vacuum kind of situation. And now since we opened a gate for it using the VPC gateway endpoint, now it successfully went and uploaded the file. So finally we finished our practice lab. Now let's go to our DIY. I think this should be a piece of cake as well. So now they want us to update that to find all people record with data scientist as the occupation. That should not be a problem. Okay, let's go ahead and update this. We already know where they are querying that from. Okay, where is this? Data scientist, but do we know data scientist? I hope that's how it is. Scientist, yes. Run the Lambda function. Make sure that new query results are placed into the provided DIY bucket. Okay, not this one. Gotcha. Copy this. Go here. Where is that bucket? Deploy. Deployed and tested. And we did get records for it and file uploaded successfully. That's about it. I think we are rocking, don't you guys think? Anyways, let's validate it and let's get that green. Yes, we did it. You completed Lambda Security, now return to the city and give your customer the good news. Okay, what do you think about the project? Don't tell me right now. Go ahead and put them in the comments so that I will know what you think about this particular project. Do you think it is nice? You learned something you didn't learn? But whatever it is, update or put a comment on each video and hit the like button, subscribe. And you can also become membership if you want to contribute to the channel, but that's optional. But what is not optional? The like and the comment. Go ahead and do that. Awesome. Using your solution, we comply with the company security rules. Thanks. I'm so glad to hear it. And let's pick one. I think let's pick this castle. That looks cool. Is that a swimming pool? Okay, don't go yet because we still have to zap some drones and get some cards. All right, we leveled up and let's give the feedback. I hope you already went and left a comment and liked it. Let's zap some drones. What can users connect their Lambda function to in their VPC to access private AWS? It's VPC endpoints, duh. What? I think I might have misread it. Okay, the DAW is on me. AWS Secrets Manager provides built-in integration with services rotating the credentials, which services does support. Interesting. This is for sure. What do you mean by supports it? These are all AWS services, even this, but it is a relational database. Is that why? Support in the sense store credentials? I think DynamoDB, I don't think we create username password for DynamoDB, do we? Let's click on this. Okay, if you see this, that's there. RDS is there, and doc DynamoDB, I doubt it. There is no, yeah, document. See, I told you. I hope it goes well because previous one same thing happened. Okay, that's we did it. So let's make sure to read the questions properly this time. What do users pay for when using Secret Manager? Mm, I don't think the number of secrets managed. I think the number of APIs calls made. What is the difference between this and this? Yeah, API calls made, right? Oh, select two. Good. Okay, then it's these two. What are the types of secret values in AWS Secrets Manager? I think string and integer. What? Okay, that's cheating. Let's see. I really want to I want to see if it is not those things. To create manage secrets. I'm am I reading these questions incorrectly or something? I don't know. Maybe I don't know. When users connect an AWS Lambda function to a virtual VPC, Lambda assigns the function to a hyperplane ENI for each subnet in the function's VPC configuration. I think that is true. Which type of endpoints provide reliable connectivity to S3 and DynamoDB? We already know for S3 DynamoDB it is gateway VPC endpoints. Which service can rotate manage database credentials? It's Secret Manager. This is a repeated question in developer certification exam. Which type of endpoint is a network interface that serves as an entry point to traffic that's destined to an AWS service and also integrates with the private link? Um, wha- it's these two, but we need to pick only one. Network interface serves as an entry point for traffic. I think maybe that one. Yeah, see, it's many, and even this one the same. Oh, these do not use AWS private link. Oh, okay, then it is interface. I thought it does. Okay, I learned something. When can users configure to keep traffic between their VPC and secrets manager within the AWS network? To keep traffic between, definitely it's not this. It's not this as well. Egress only internet gateway is for IPv6. I think it is VPC endpoints. If you are wondering, we didn't create it for the secrets manager. The reason because they already created it for us. Which type of secrets can users manage in secrets manager? This for sure. This I don't know. I think we can do this, but data center keys? What does that even mean? The keys, literal keys to data center. Are they trying to fool us? No, I missed it. Which AWS service can provide database credentials and send them to Lambda? It's a free giveaway. Which EC2 pricing model adjusts based on supply and demand of EC2 instances? I think we are done with what? I should read them properly. I think it is this one, right? Yeah, it is that. They taking us to that itself is a giveaway. Okay, now let's do zap and orange drone. I think that's an orange one. We did so many of these blue drones, so let's hope we have enough cards to do this. Let's see what it has to offer. Kinesis S3, I feel like we have them. Yes. Your procurement department wants to optimize inventory distribution through the use of analytics, and it needs to monitor inventory levels in near real time. Near real time, we already know. Kinesis, Firehose. If it is real time, it is data. What is it? Uh, Streams. Okay, Kinesis. Oh, this is Kinesis data streams. We need the Firehose. Yeah, here we go. And we are going to write those results to S3 wherever S3 is. I think that's it. I think we can end here. And thank you. If you haven't, go ahead, like, comment, and thank you for spending your time here. See you in the next video. Have a great day. Peace out.